Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Paradise Preview. I'm Josh Gaffney, and this week I'm joined by none other than Krys Kujawa. How are you?
Hi Josh, I'm good.
Alright, so we just played Inverness on Saturday there, and it was a 2-2 draw. Krys, did you manage to get along to the game?
I was there as always, yep.
So, what was your general thoughts about the game?
I'd say it was a pretty strange game, and yet not strange at the same time. It was almost as if, yet again, we've sat back and watched Celtic dominate a team who, for the most part, sat in, but then anytime they went up the park, they were able to score because our defending wasn't up to scratch. And for all we were attacking quite well, at times there was no one there to finish. And we've seen that over several games now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was watching the game myself, and Celtic were definitely the better team early on, but then straight after we got a good chance, Aaron Dorn just called in, in my opinion, quite a really good goal. Fraser Forster didn't really have a chance of saving it, but there was a little bit of a mistake in the build up to the goal. Basically, Ambrose and Matthews are both being pulled out wide by Inverness, sort of employing the same tactic that Carragandi did in midweek, trying to really stretch their defence. And then Aaron Dorn, the pass the ball into Aaron Dorn, and Kyle hasn't really got out to him quick enough, and Aaron's just called it in the bottom corner. Yeah,
you're right about that. Kyle did seem to have to come off a man because he was covering for Adam Matthews, who had gone out to help Effie Ambrose. So it's exactly like you say, they used the same tactic to try and pull our defence apart, and obviously it worked pretty well. Helps that it was a really good finish and off the post. Kept it out of Fraser Forster's reach.
Yeah, a lot of time you'll see a player being in that position, edge of the box, where a player coming out to him, and a lot of time they'll sky it or shoot it straight at the goalkeeper or fire it wide. But in this time it was just a really good finish.
It was a disappointing double blow actually, because a minute before that we did a great chance for Tony Watt, and he'd been pretty much one-on-one with the keeper, but unfortunately his shot was far too tame and straight at him.
Yeah, it was straight at the goalkeeper, really. He really needed the sort of finish that Aaron Dorn had.
Yeah, exactly. Or even the finish Tony himself had against Barcelona. He seems to have gone backwards since that game, unfortunately.
Inverness got another goal from a throw-in yet again. Cash your mind back, we also could see a throw-in against Shakhter. Can you tell us really what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be a combination of the first and second goals that Shakhtar scored against us, because, again, this time we've had a long throw from Inverness. They've been aiming at Richie Foran. This time the Celtic defence has managed to get there, but they seem to have misjudged it, and Tom Rogic has actually flicked it on. There's a bizarre overhead kick attempt, but it eventually returns back to Richie Foran, who by this point is completely unmarked, with only Charlie Mulgrew somewhere between being on the line and still trying to mark Richie Foran, and Foran heads into the net.
Yeah, all I could really say in these situations, you need to be clinical when you win the header, and if you don't, you need someone marking or there are men in the box. And unfortunately, the guy who took the overhead kick, there wasn't really anyone near him to put him under pressure. If there was someone right next to him, then he'd maybe have second thoughts about having a sort of scissor kick, or maybe instead he'd touch it down, or he'd fluff his shot.
Yeah. The reason I'm saying it's sort of a combination of the two goals that Shakhtar scored in midweek is, although the long throw aspect is there's more of a case that everybody seems to be standing around after the ball should be cleared and hasn't been, and that was very reminiscent of the second goal rather than the first goal. The first goal against Shakhtar was more a case of they didn't track the run of the was it Finonchenko, his name was, the scorer of the first goal.
Yeah. And attacking wise in the game, we've sort of dominated the game possession wise, but our 2 goals came for Adam Matthews and Charlie Mulgrew.
Yeah.
Not really we didn't really have our sort of solid attacking threat on the pitch. The only real attacking threats we had was Tom Rogic and Amido Baldi and Tony Watt.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Mulgrew one, if anything, was scuffed into the net, and had he connected right, the keeper might have stood a better chance of getting it. But for me, the best move that Celtic put together all day came through the Scott Brown pass and the Adam Matthews run, where Adam Matthews eventually scored the equaliser.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Shakhtar game. So we're down 2 goals. How do you approach this game?
Ideally, you get an early goal. There's two schools of thinking here that we can either go out and try and hammer them with everything we've got, or there's the one that Gordon Strachan seemed to be mentioning on last Tuesday night, was the fact that we really should be looking at it as we've got 90 minutes to get 2 goals, so even if it takes a while to get the first one, then as long as we get the first one and they don't, we should be thinking that way we've got get the 2 goals and then maybe get a third one in extra time. I think I subscribe to the let's batter them more, to be honest. I've had a look back through the previous times we've come back from a 2-0 away leg. As you know, on the Hail Hail Media site, there's a blog of the 4 times we've had that, and 3 of them we've managed to come back. And if anything, I think the favourite one has to be the Sporting Lisbon game from the early 80s, where we won 5-0. And I think if we could manage to do that against Shakhtar Karagandhi, I think everybody will go home very happy.
Yeah. So I'm basically just looking at Shakhtar Karagandhi's recent form, and in the past 5 out of 6 games they've employed the 5-4-1 formation in the league, and it's been quite successful for them because in their past 6 games they've only conceded 3 goals, and they've won 4 of those 6 games. So in terms of their recent form, they've been quite tidy at the back. The last time they conceded 2 goals was in the previous round against that other team. I don't know how to say their name.
The Albanian team.
Yeah, where they lost that 3-2 away. They conceded 3 goals quite early in that game, but managed to pull 2 back late on.
Yeah. I would like to think that if Celtic can get 3 goals in half an hour, then they will have enough about them to either score some more or not concede 2 goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that other team they faced, they had 3 goals within the first half an hour. And I think, that's the way we have to kind of go out there and try do, because the longer the game goes on without us getting a goal, the better it is for Shakhtar. So for me, we'll go out there all guns blazing, try to get a surprise goal or 2, and I think we'll need a few really good performances.
I think we should be looking to try and catch them cold. One of the issues with us last time round was we had to switch to being 5 hours ahead. So the 4 o'clock game over there was really 9 o'clock over there. It was maybe throwing the players out a bit. Well, the reverse will be true this time, where our 7:45 kickoff will be after midnight from their body clock perspective. So there's a good chance we could catch them cold. And if we can catch them cold with an early goal, then that would be fantastic. It gets the crowd on the side as well, and they'll be up for the game anyway. But if we can get an early goal, they'll certainly be raising the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking at Shakhtar's form again in the league, they've played 12 away games and they've only won 2 of them. But at the same time, they have only lost 5 of them. Away from home, they don't score very often, less than half of what they score at home, but they don't concede too much more either. So I think that's basically what this game's just going to come down to. How are we really going to break them down without being too vulnerable at the back?
Yep. I think you're right. They will very probably play the same 5-4-1 they've been playing recently. They've obviously got the 2-goal lead to protect, and I would imagine they're going to be doing that as much as they can and trying to hit in the break and see what they can get. Kiznichenko has scored in 4 of the 5 Champions League games that they've played, including last week. He got the 2nd goal, so I think he's probably going to be the biggest threat.
Yeah. In the first game, I think what made Shakhtar so effective in attack was the fact that we are pushing our fullbacks so far out the pitch, and Shakhtar with our 5-4-1 formation, basically all they had to do was put one striker up front, push him out wide, make sure he got the ball up to him. He had plenty of time to touch it down, control it, and then you could have two or three people just making runs for midfield, and then all of a sudden within seconds you could have your 2 centre backs against 2 or 3 people at least.
Yeah.
So in this game, I think we've definitely got to deal with that and make sure that Shakhtar just can't have an easy out ball option to spawn on a counter attack.
I think the problem there is that our attacking tends to count a lot on having the full-backs pushing forward. So there is always that chance that they could get caught up the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in terms of like formation and what players you play, how do you approach this game?
It's going to come down a lot to who's fit and who isn't. Certainly Stokes seems to be the big worry at the moment, and obviously with him and his goal scoring ability, that is a big loss. The other talk, Krys Commons obviously missed that the Inverness game. He should be fine. It would be nice if we could get Dirk Borigter in as well, because he looked pretty good in the half hour we saw him against Ross County. But again, he seems to be had out with his ankle.
Yeah. In terms of changes I'd make for this game, stay at the back, stick with the same 4 players that we played against Inverness, Ambrose and Virgil van Dijk, with Azagavia and Matthews, who impressed me quite a lot attacking wise against Inverness. Then midfield, I guess it's probably going to have to be James Forrest on the right, with Ledley and Brown in the middle, and then on the left, I'd put Samaras there, because I'm just no fan of sticking him up front. Just put him out wide in his natural position.
Totally agree.
And then up front, this is really where it's going to count. If Dirk Borigter is fit, which I doubt, then you could put Samaras up front and then put Borigter out wide on the left. But I'm just assuming that Borigter isn't going to be fit, so Samaras out wide on the left. And I guess it's going to have to be Watt and Amido Balde if Stokes isn't fit. If Stokes is fit, then I'll probably put Stokes in there for Amido.
No Krys Commons.
Oh yeah, don't forget about Krys Commons.
For me, Krys Commons is a key. I think he's the guy that's more. He looked most likely to get us a goal over in Kazakhstan, and I think if he is on form, then he could be the man that gets us that early goal.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just totally forgot about Krys Commons. I guess then it'd just be sort of the same sort of way we played against Shakhtar away, Krys Commons and sort of sitting behind a striker, and I guess it'd have to either be Stokes, Amido or Watt.
I would like, if Stokes isn't fit, I think I'd like to see Amido Balde play. He certainly, against Inverness, he looked like he was physically strong enough to handle it, at least for the first hour of the game. He seemed to struggle as the game went on, so he maybe help Celtic if they can take him off after an hour, maybe, or add another attacking option if they've got any on the bench at that point.
I think at the very least having him up front, if we can get the ball to him, and he can even just hold it up for the likes of Krys Commons or Samaras or James Forrest to make the run into the box, then I think that'd at least be something where Tony Watt, he's not actually that experienced as a striker. He can go and score a goal himself, but I can't really see him holding up play, which I think we're going to need.
I think the other attacking option we might have, you suggested playing Matthews at right back. What we saw against Inverness was Lustig coming off the bench and him playing at right back and pushing Adam Matthews into the midfield. That may be an option if James Forrest isn't fit. Yeah,
that's good to consider. He definitely has a good striking on, by the way.
I'm quite a fan of Matthews, actually. He certainly, again, the goal he scored at the weekend there was certainly the highlight of the game for me.
Yeah, it was a typical kind of Hooper finish.
He placed it well, and it was you don't normally expect a keeper to get beat at the near post, but he certainly placed that one well, with just a slight bend on it to get it in.
We could have used Adam Matthews in Azagavi's place against Shakhtar last time.
Yeah, I'm not sure Azagavi's quite hit his form of last season. He certainly looked like he was returning to the guy that had been player of the year in his first season at Celtic, but even against Inverness, it was a lot of his crossing was left a lot to be desired. Some of it ended up behind the goal, and some of it getting overhit.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our gaffer V the guest.
Okay, Chris, so taking all that into contention, what's your score prediction for this game, and who do you think will be your scores?
I think we may actually be closer to the Gordon Strachan thinking. I think we might get the 2 goals in normal time. It might get the third in extra time. I fancy Krys Commons will get on the score sheet. Samaras is always a good bet to get a goal, and maybe he'll get 1 or 2. Maybe he'll get the winner in the third extra time. So I'll go with 2 for Samaras and 1 for Commons.
Okay, that's. I'm hoping this game doesn't go extra time, but looking at it, I could see this game maybe going to penalties. I don't know, for some reason, I just can never really see Celtic scoring an extra time. So I'm going to say, 2-0 in normal time. Goal scorers will be same as you, Samaras and Commons, and then it's got to go to penalties, and Krys Commons is going to win us it.
Whatever it takes to get through, I think that's the important thing.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, have you got anything you'd like to add?
Well, there's always my Paradise Support podcasts. I go to all the games at home, certainly. I used to go to away games, not anymore, sadly. But I'll certainly be getting a Paradise Support up for the Inverness game, and I've got probably be out after the Shakhtar game as well, and we'll get the two of them out together. And I'll even be in a wee added bonus with the Celtic Graves stuff that's been happening recently.
Good. Let's hope that the Paradise Report about the Karaganda game is a good one.
The Champions League nights are always the best. Hopefully it'll be the first of many this season.
First of many. Alright, so this has been another episode of Paradise Preview. Hail, hail, and keep the faith.